Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. It's Jen here. So pick a card. I'm actually going to use 3 different decks for each reading, but I'm going to have 3 different groups. So if you wanted to just look at the Cacoxenite here, or the Rose Quartz, or the Aventurine, and decide this is group 1, group 2, group 3. And then what I'm going to do is for each group pick a card for what they miss about you, sort of more in general, and then what they miss about you romantically, and then what they miss about you um, in your more intimate life, if that makes sense. So we'll start with group 1. Okay, what do they miss about you? Everything, right? Fools. So that's a card for sort of general overall, and then this middle card's going to be more centered on about your relationship, and this is going to be this last card, the more, I guess, shall we say, intimate parts of your relationship. 2 kind of want to come out, so for that one, so they seem to miss that more than the other things, so I don't know if that's good or bad. Let's see. The Fool. So they like your being that times when you were spontaneous, that you were brave, you weren't afraid to try new things, to do new things. You like to get out and about. Maybe you traveled together. This is a very Sag type energy, so Sagittarians are very generous and full of life and adventurous and things like that. They don't like to be tied down, so they tend not to. They don't want to make someone else feel that way because they don't like it. So maybe you gave them a lot of freedom in the relationship. So they felt like they weren't going to get in trouble for maintaining, like, going the things that they've normally did, and seeing their friends and things like that. Maybe they played sports and used to go and cheer them on. I can see it. She almost has like a, the posture of someone in a crowd cheering. Okay, so like romantically. That's interesting. The 5 of Wands. So maybe they were kind of turned on by your feistiness and by the fact that you didn't just go along with the flow. You were probably out doing your own thing as well. Maybe there was more than one person interested in you, and that kind of got them. If you were to see someone flirting with someone you like, it yes, you can get jealous, but it can also make you want that person more, I guess. Does that make sense? um, Maybe you would stick up for them. But this also makes me think that maybe you guys used to, again, going back to doing things together. Maybe you used to go bike riding together, or something, and I'm almost getting something active, like some activity you used to like to do together. Okay, this is where I think they really like to. Okay, the Devil, that's interesting. Oh, and the 9 of Swords, that's so kind of weird. So, what 2 interesting cards. So I'm going to be honest, I'm a little stumped on how to read this. Well, I mean, the Devil could mean that, and if you look at the Fool card, the adventurousness, maybe adventurousness, I don't know if that's a word. Maybe you were adventurous in bed, and they really liked that about you. Maybe they felt you were a little naughty or something. Um, but the Nine of Swords, I wish I knew the meaning of this in this deck, because the Nine of Swords is usually the up in the middle of the night worrying type card. Um, maybe you guys used to wake up in the middle of the night and be together or something, and it was kind of a cherished quiet moment about you. Um, so I know this reading makes it seem like, oh, everything was great. This doesn't mean anything's, this is just sort of its own thing. It doesn't mean anything else, like they're going to come back. I'm not even looking at that. I'm just kind of looking back at things a person who's currently not actively in your life thinks about when they think about you. It's kind of interesting though, because it does, like, in some ways these things were good, like it made you more attractive to them. But when you look at them, I mean, this is a card of power struggles or conflict. And then these two are cards of like worry and maybe some sort of addiction or, bad habit. So it's interesting, and maybe there was too much freedom, in the sense that one person took it to the extreme. And so, it's interesting how these things can be positive and negative in relationships, and but it's just whether they can outweigh it enough to really be sustainable or not. This is interesting. Not what I expected. Not what I expected. So we are going to move on to group 2. What time is it for group 2? Okay. Hey, group 2. So this reading's kind of evolving as I'm doing it. I just did group 1. So group 2, we're going to pick one card for what they miss about you in general. Now, I don't want to say that this is, they miss you, these things, and they're going to come back. This is kind of just a standalone reading. I don't know, you'll have to put it in the context of what makes sense for you. And what makes sense in context of sort of the entire relationship. So that middle card's going to be more like how you were as a couple. And then this last card's going to be more how you were as a couple, romantically and physically. Okay, group 1 was interesting. It kind of stumped me a little bit. So let's see. 7 of Pentacles in general. So they like that you're a hard worker. They like that you were patient with them. Maybe you're someone who can really stick with a project and see things through to the end. And, or I almost see doing something creative here too, like running your own business, or maybe you do something or make something. Maybe you're able to really cook a lot of things from scratch, or you grow your own vegetables, or you, build things. It's like you have skills and attention to detail and patience and perseverance. And maybe you've worked really hard to get something somewhere in your life, or and that was something that really they admired about you and miss about you. maybe that was inspiring to them. Maybe when you were together, you helped and inspired them to, make some positive changes in their life, and they'll always be grateful or appreciative of that. So let's see, what do they miss about you? Romantic, like Seven of Swords. That's interesting. So I would say that so the Seven of Swords is sort of a sneaky card, but it's also, not announcing. I like to say, instead of bursting through the front door and, saying, hey, I'm here, maybe like finding a back way in. It's just, it doesn't necessarily have to be a nasty card. It's a card about keeping your own counsel or something. So maybe they shared with you something and they know that you will always guard that secret or information or vulnerability, that they know they can trust you. They could trust you with things that they would never tell anyone else. And it felt good to be able to share those things with you that they had kept hidden. It could also be that you guys had some things in your romantic relationship, like, what do I want to say? Like inside jokes or inside things like that were really only kept for the two of you. And so it made it, more special, like maybe a pet name, a nickname you only said when you guys were alone. Or just quiet times you spent together. So let's see what they miss about you. Let's see how racy this is. It's fairly racy. The Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands, I think they missed that you were just very, it's a card of just being really solid. which let's see, romantically in the bedroom, how would that mean? It's just a card of maybe you were there first, in some way. Not, it could have been their first, but maybe some of the things you did together, you shared together, were first for them, and because of that, they will always remember you because it marked a milestone in their life. You know what I mean? And they felt really, they felt safe and secure with you when you were together, which I think is a really nice compliment. This is a very nice reading. It's almost like someone you just grew apart from, maybe a relationship when you were younger, and they still remember you fondly. That's really sweet, actually. Group 3. I have group 2, so we're gonna go on to group. We're gonna go. Jeez, group 3. Hi. Everything's falling apart here. So these are turning out to be sort of interesting readings. What do someone miss about you? It's not necessarily means, I don't want to put it in any sort of context, I guess. So you take it whatever it means. I'm not saying anything. So the first card we're going to pick, group 3, is sort of what they miss about it. That one wants to come out. What they miss about you in general. And then the next card is what they miss about you as a couple, like how you functioned and were as a couple. And then the last card is going to be more of your intimate life, shall we say. We'll do this one. Okay, well, what you're getting two. They missed 2 things about you physically. So maybe you guys did have a very passionate physical relationship. Three of Wands. They miss your perspective. Um, they miss your ability. So maybe when you guys would talk, you tended to be the person that was able to sort of nicely, not with making someone feel bad about how they were feeling, but still put it in a context or say the right thing or do something that made it seem not so bad, or put it in a context or a perspective that they could kind of laugh about it, and it wouldn't bother them as much. Maybe you also, maybe they, if you're the type of person that it's like, I want to do this, I want to travel, and wouldn't it be fun? You're always kind of positive and looking at looking towards the future and making plans and things like that. And so they really enjoyed your positivity. Maybe they tended to be a little on the darker side, um, and you were more of a positive person, and something like that could definitely contribute to a relationship not working. Um, but it doesn't mean that they didn't, enjoy your optimistic ways, if that makes sense. What do they miss about you as a couple? Oh, well, it's maybe you guys had a lot of drama. Maybe if you're like a more fiery, like um, passionate sign, that could mean that you guys would have. I mean, maybe part of your relationship was kind of fighting, maybe sort of breaking up and getting back, and some people do like that because, and when I was younger, I would say I don't know if I liked it, but I don't know, you get used to it. There's something about it that does make things, when you always kind of have that fear of losing each other or fear of something. And then when you come back together, it's such a relief, but there's this worry. So you're very heightened. So maybe this too maybe was a younger relationship, or one of your earlier relationships for at least one of you. And so it had a little bit of that, what I would think of more as one of your, sometimes not everyone has this. Some people are very stable, but I just see, I'm trying to think of myself and my friends definitely having some of those more um, dramatic relationships. But as you can see, that's probably one of the things that made you guys not last. Here's a completely different take on this. Perhaps you supported them through, maybe there was a loss when you guys were together, something happened and they were really down, and you really supported them while they were grieving, is another way to look at that card. So maybe you shared shared an experience. So let's see physically. Ooh, okay. Victory. They liked on the Fool. So they liked that you were adventurous, and maybe you guys, I see like playfulness and funness and um, in the bedroom. Like it wasn't, I see it like you guys laughed a lot, and maybe you would play a lot. I see you talking a lot, but in like a, maybe, maybe that was always kind of, even when you were out, maybe you would whisper something about later in their ear or something, and they really liked that you kind of always were playful about that. Um, and I do see that you guys definitely had chemistry. Um, one of you, I don't know why I'm getting this because this isn't really what the reading's supposed to be about, but one of you, though, may have walked out on the relationship because, or maybe you tried a more open relationship, but it's almost like that's where it kind of the downfall was. One of you sort of I think it was very hurtful because it seemed like things were so well that why would they go, seek someone else out? I think that really, really may have been what sank this relationship. Or maybe they talked about it and you were like, no, I definitely want to be just with you. And maybe that sort of soured things. But it was weird because I feel like that area of your relationship was really, really positive and fun. Okay, there also could be with this victory card a bit of maybe you were a bit of a conquest for them, and then sort of and I'm not saying that this is okay or it should be this way or telling you. Yeah, I have no judgment on when people get physical with each other in any sort of way. But maybe you did make them wait, so it was exciting and it was a conquest for them. But when they did finally get together with you, it didn't last too long because they kind of, maybe they were just one of those people that it was kind of the thrill of the beginning, and then they were kind of after not too long ready to walk away. And I mean, there's no way. I mean, you have no control over how someone else is, but that may have been the final the downfall of this. But I think when you were together, it was very passionate and intense. Could have been with a Scorpio, um, or maybe a Leo. Okay, so that is your reading. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.